There's Jackie Mammen. Awesome. Okay, well, you guys are popping on, and so you get to hear in the very beginning. I'm going to put this on speaker view. Okay, let's see, mute. I'm going to mute everybody, so Jackie, unmute yourself, okay? Okay. All righty. Okay, why do I have Christina there? All right, I unmuted you, Jackie. Wait. All right, can I not unmute? Is somebody else logged in? Let's see. Jackie, unmute. Okay.
Hey, Shelly, I'm on. I just joined meeting. I didn't log in as me.
I know, it says that I'm a co-host to somebody.
Maybe me, but you should be able to do everything.
Okay. All right, I'm just trying to unmute Jackie and I can't unmute.
Jackie?
Oh, there she is. Oh,
okay.
Maybe we're doing it at the same time.
I came from, yep, I'm on my phone now. Hang on, let me get rid of this.
Okay, okay, good.
Sorry, guys, I have no idea what's happening, but you know.
Okay.
It's all right. Thank you.
As long as we get it all figured, and that gave more time for people to hop on. So, all right, well, we will get started. So you guys, Jackie Mammen is your trainer tonight. Okay, now I'm gonna, I don't know which one is me, Carly. You'll have to mute because your picture is showing instead of her on speaker.
Just pin Jackie's video.
Huh?
You can just pin Jackie's video, or when she starts talking, her video will show up. It was just that I was on there because I was the last person talking.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. So, all right. Well, I'll just talk. So you guys, years ago, 15, probably 15, not quite 15 years ago, 14 and a half years ago, I went to an area manager retreat, and Carlita and Jackie did this together. And this was the first time that I ever met Jackie. And I remember that retreat being one of really fun. That was when Melissa, Heidi, and Emily all came, very first retreat. And that was the time that they did the cannonball in Martha McIntyre's pool. And we were like, fish out of water, I would say. But I just really loved Jackie's heart. And I thought that Carlita and Jackie were such a great combo with their different strengths. And I was more of a quiet person, and I just really watched people. And you know, you can recognize a leader if you just observe who they are and how they treat other people. And you guys, you know, in our bond, there's every kind of personality that leads. And I just loved, I remember that we had a sharing time, and Jackie was able to just really get those of us who never would share to share and to share our heart. And it became one of the most transparent and, I think, authentic things that I had ever been a part of. And so she just kind of grabbed a part of my heart, and that's where it stayed. And I know that those of you that are on my team, you've heard me say Jackie's name over and over. One thing that I say all the time that really hit me is when somebody would call and grumble, you would say, well, what's good about it? What's good? And that's not exactly what you want to hear, but it really does change your perspective. So I'm so glad you guys get to sit at Jackie's feet tonight, and I'm just going to let her tell her story and pass on any kind of wisdom that you can. And we're just really excited, Jackie.
Oh, Shelly, thank you so much. You guys, it is, thank you hardly seems appropriate. You guys have absolutely the best leaders, and I know that you know that. I can't imagine that I would have anything to say that you haven't already heard from them. But I'm honored to be here. I'm honored that they've asked me to join you and share a little bit about, you know, my slice of the Arbonne story. And so thank you, Shelley, for inviting me, and Carlita and everybody allowing me to be here and just share a little bit. As Shelley said, I'm Jackie Mammen. I live in Edmond, Oklahoma. My husband is Kirk, and we have been married for 29 years. I have two boys. Jake is 23, and he is a meteorologist in Macon, Georgia. And my youngest is Zeke. He's 22, and he is a junior at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. So we are relatively new empty nesters and just living life in a whole different way. And it's just incredible. It's kind of funny. My boys really do not know anything but Arbonne. It was on August 1st in 1996, when Jake was 3 months old, that I joined Arbonne. And so their whole lives, that's all that they know. But you guys, I do not have time for the whole hilarity of my story. If you haven't heard it, you know, ask me sometime. It's rather funny. But if I cut to the chase, my sponsor got my name at the hospital where I delivered Jake. And so that was before HIPAA laws. And she literally had my address, my phone number. She knew my name. She had everything. And she gave me some samples that I had thrown in the trash, but she persisted and asked if she could come give me a facial. And I said yes. And so, and the rest is just history. Now, at that time, I was a hairstylist. I was a salon owner, and I was an educator for Paul Mitchell Systems. And so I was successful in my own right. I was not looking for Arbonne or anything else for that matter. But you know, there are no coincidences, and I believe that we're all here for a reason, right? And I just could not deny how incredible the products were. And being an educator for a professional product, I really was blown away. Like, I knew the minute that I used them. But then as I learned more about the business, there was no way that I could deny it. And so what I want you to know is that, you know, my sponsor didn't do everything right. In fact, I did everything I could to derail her. I don't know what that says about me, but I did. But the one thing she didn't do was quit. Like, she shared everything. She had a notebook that was this thick. And I mean, she shared it all. And I'm so glad that she did, because you know what? So many times we go into appointments and we think, if the person you're talking to was being as ugly as I was, I would have probably gotten up and walked out. She didn't stop. She persisted, and she shared everything with me. And thank God she did, because here I am today, right? And if she hadn't done that, I don't know that I would have cared. I would have walked away from that appointment thinking, good grief, I don't know who she thought she was, you know, whatever. So anyway, so all of that to just say that I'm so grateful that in all the things that she maybe didn't do right, she shared it all. And that is why I'm here today. So, you know, again, the products got my attention, but you guys, as we know, it's this business that changes our lives. And so I want to share with you. Okay, so let me back up. So I went district in 2 months, which, okay, so 23 years I have been in this business. Going district in 2 months was quite a feat back then, okay? I know it's not now, but it was back then. And then when at my year mark, I became an area manager. That was not such a feat. It was okay. But, and then when I hit 6 years in Arbonne, I went region. And then when I was 8 years in Arbonne, I was a national vice president. And so I am a regional vice president now, you guys. And that is part of my story. That is not anything that I'm going to dwell on. I have no doubt that I will be back there. And what I am learning is that in order for God to fulfill all the things that he has to fulfill in us, we have to go through some rough times, right? I'm sure you guys have all experienced that in some way. And this is just part of my journey. And I am on my way back there, and will be there, no doubt. But I recently heard Beth Moore say that she's getting ready to turn 60, and so she's asking for a new Bible. And she's asking for a new Bible because her current Bible, which I don't know how many she's had, but her current Bible is full of studies and experiences and things that she has already done. And what she said was, I want a new Bible because it's time for new experiences. And our testimony is always growing, right? We should always be learning and growing. And so in honor of that, I am going to share with you what I am learning and how I am growing right now. And I'm not going to so much go back to the beginning. You guys, I could, 20 minutes isn't long enough. And by the way, I have no idea how long that is. But you guys, 20 minutes is not long enough to share with you all that I have learned and experienced in the last 23 years. This is the single most incredible thing outside of marrying my husband and having my kids that I have ever done. We are with the most incredible group of people, with the most incredible products and the most incredible business. And I can't say that enough. And if you don't know that yet, you need to hang around a little bit longer, because I promise you, you will not ever find anything else like it. So so that we don't have to go back and relive all those last 23 years, I want to share with you what I'm currently learning and how I'm growing right now. And hopefully it will speak to you in a few ways. So with that, there are 3 things that I really just want to talk about. And you guys, the first one is, and this was something that was important to me all those years ago when Shelly was talking about the retreat and things like that, is who are you? Who are you? Because you guys, you have to know what you bring to the table. Okay. Let me see if I can. I've always known that I am not, I don't fit the average mold. Okay. I'm a different person. Always known that. Always been really relatively confident in that. I'm thankful. I thank God every day that my parents raised me that way. But if you don't know who you are, I want to ask you a couple of questions that you need to answer for yourself. And that is, what things can you do with very little effort? Where do you feel your best? In what way are you doing things that you feel like, oh yeah, I am in my lane, right? So what things can you do with very little effort? And then the second thing that you need to ask yourself, if you're not really sure who you are, is what is one thing that other people associate with me? Okay, so what can I do with very little effort? For me, it always generally involves something creative. I am not a painter, but I cut hair, and I was a dancer before that. And so everything about me revolves around creating. Okay, I love to decorate. I love all kinds of things like that. And what do people generally associate with me? The things that I hear most often are, I'm real and I like to have fun. Okay, so those are things I know that is who I am. I'm also very loyal. I mean, I could go on and on about things like that, but you have to know who you are. Who are you? Because you bring something unique to this table, okay? And let me see if I can explain in a little bit more depth what I mean by all of that. You guys, in this day and age, with everything being digital, right? We have access to so much. We have access to so many people and how they do a Discover Arbonne and how they do a Getting Started and how they prospect people and all of those things. And so we get to watch a lot of people, particularly with social media being so prevalent. And so the thing that I would tell you is that when you find somebody who's successful, what do we usually do? We try and duplicate it, right? I have done that. I definitely do that. I watch all kinds of people, but if I'm not careful, I do the easy thing and I try and copy exactly what they did. Y'all, there have been times in my life that I literally have written down, I will rewind that video and I will write down every single word that they say, because what I know about me is verbiage is really important. And if I like the way that somebody said it, I'm going to try and duplicate it. When it becomes a problem is when I'm copying someone else. Okay. So if it doesn't involve you and who you are and what you would say and what your experiences are, then you're just copying someone else. And why is that a problem? Because that is not authentic. That just means that you're saying what somebody else said and it's not coming from an authentic place, right? It's coming from whoever you're copying's authentic place. I can sit and listen to every single one of your leaders that are on this call right now, and I would want to duplicate every single one of them. But I also know that while I can attempt to do what they've done, I have to put it in my own terms, in my own vernacular, or else it's not authentic. And you guys, we've heard people say belief has a sound, right? That's what that means, is that if it's not authentic, people don't believe it and they can't hear it, right? So you've got to know who you are and then take the information that's been given to you and make it your own. Let me tell you one way that I figured that out. So as I have been searching to figure out what's important to me and how I want to move forward and things like that, when I go sit down with someone and I attempt to give the information that we know to give, right? And I am copying someone else, I often leave that. I can share information. I can be a copycat better than anybody. And we've heard before, you guys have probably heard, the best copycat wins. Well, when it is, when I'm just copying someone, I'm giving information, but I walk away, and I wonder if you guys ever walk away from an appointment feeling like, well, I said everything there was to say. How come that didn't turn out better? How come they're not joining me? How come they don't want to use my product? You feel a little bit frustrated. You feel a little bit maybe confused. And you guys, the reason that happens, so I feel like when I do that, I'm trying to manipulate somebody. I'm trying to get them to hear what I have to say. I'm trying to get them to buy my product. I'm trying to get them to join my 30 days. I'm trying to, I'm saying all this information and it's not coming across. And that's because I have manipulated a situation and I haven't been authentic with myself. So in all of that, we can walk away from these appointments feeling somewhat like a failure. I am sure with everybody that is on this call that someone on here feels like a failure tonight. Like you maybe met with somebody today and it didn't work out the way that you wanted to. You maybe can't promote a district manager to save your life. Or maybe you can promote a district manager, but then they end up not being one as quickly as they were one, and so on and so forth, right? So many times we end up feeling like a failure. And I want to ask you a question. You guys, if you're feeling like a failure right now, who told you that? When I started asking myself that question, who told me I was a failure? You guys, the answer to that is, I know it's not the one that created you. I can promise you that much. And I'm pretty certain, knowing all of the leaders that are on this call, it's not your leaders either. So where is that coming from? Who told you that? And what happens is when you feel like a failure, you're not in touch with who you really are and what you have to bring to the table. And so I would encourage you to get with the people who know you and love you the most, and see your greatness in you. And if you're not sure who you are, ask them. Ask them to help you figure out who that is and how you can be your authentic self when presenting any of the Arbonne information and your story, okay? Because you guys, I think that it is an absolutely crucial part to all of this. And there have been times that I have been inauthentic. Is that a word? Unauthentic, whatever. Anyway, I haven't been myself. And when that happens, I don't do well. So, so ask yourself those questions, get with the people who can help you and love you the most. And I promise you, you're going to see a difference in the way that you present things and the results that you have. So the second thing that I want to touch on is, what do you want? Y'all, that changes over time. In 23 years, when I started my Arbonne business, while I was successful, my husband and I were driving 45 minutes in opposite directions. So we never saw each other. We were starting our family, and I was working a lot of hours. And as a hairstylist, I'm only one person, so I could only do so many heads of hair a day, and I did. But we still had way too much month at the end of the money. Okay. And so in the beginning for me, you know, Carlita talks about what's your number. I had a number and it wasn't very big. It's kind of funny, but I had a number, and that's what I was really focused on, was being able to do that, because I knew that that's what would keep me home. And in fact, that's why most of us get involved, is because we have a need ourselves. But what happens is, if you don't make it more than that, and then if then your focus becomes wrong. Okay. And so for the longest time, I had no idea when people would talk about vision. And one of my very favorite books is Andy Stanley's Visioneering. Visioneering, is that what it's called? Yeah. Anyway, one of my very favorite books is his on vision. And I would read it and I'd go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'd walk away from it and go, what's my vision? And so I don't know if you guys feel that way. I certainly did for a lot of years. But what I have come to grips with is this. And this is when you know you're being your authentic self, is when you can bring out information that you don't even really know where it came from. You guys, my mission, and I think really it's probably all of our mission, right? But my mission is to help anyone who's willing to listen with something so seemingly small as getting their gut healthy, right? Because what we know is, if we help somebody get their gut healthy, it's going to affect their brain. It's going to affect a lot of things, but it's going to affect their brain. And if we can actually help someone improve their brain function, imagine how many people around them that's going to change, and what that's going to do to their world, right? So it seems so small as helping somebody get their gut healthy. But you guys, everything from that to being able to bring families home. Because the reality is, for me, I believe that we have a breakdown of the family in this country. And you guys, we have an avenue to be able to change that. And so if it's anything from getting someone's gut healthy to bringing families home and everything in between, I want people to know about it. That is my mission. And when I got in touch with that, things started changing with me. You guys, what does it mean when we bring families back home, right? So it means having, hopefully, less stress. It means being able to focus on the important things. It can mean so many things. And so that's just a start, is being able to bring families home. I love Philip and Carlita's story. It's so powerful. And while honestly, for the longest time, that was great for them, it didn't necessarily apply to me. It was a great, powerful story. But until it applies to you, again, you're not being authentic. And so now I am in a completely different place, and things happen when you age and you start to look at things a little differently. And at 50, I have much more of an appreciation for families being at home and raising kids. And this is coming from someone who has worked from the time she was 14 and have always been out to, you know, get whatever was mine, because I knew I could. And my whole perspective has somewhat changed on that. And it's not that people shouldn't work, because obviously we should, but there's a different way to do it. We have something to offer people that allows them to focus on the right things and still be able to provide for their family. So what I have found, another thing that I know that I want, is I truly want to help people. And what I had to do in my head was say, no strings attached. Now, you guys, hear me out for just a second, because if you go into any meeting and you're expecting something to happen with Arbonne and you don't ever bring it up and talk about it because you don't want to have any strings attached, okay, well, then you're missing the purpose. Then perhaps you shouldn't be here, right? So when I say no strings attached, what I want you to understand by that is, and I hope somebody can relate to this, what I mean by that is, when I go into an appointment and I have strings attached, meaning I'm trying to sponsor a certain amount of people this month, I'm trying to get a certain volume, I'm trying to attain this, that, or the other. When I make it about me, and you guys, as much as I hate to admit it, sometimes it's really easy to cross that line. And so I have to say to myself, I know that I truly want to help people, no strings attached, because when I do, I can have an authentic conversation with people. And you guys, I can meet with them in a way that I wouldn't if I was trying to attain something, if I was trying to manipulate something happening for how it was going to serve me. So I've got people right now, I have no idea what's going to happen, but you guys, we see it all over the place. And this is why I want to encourage you in this way. I've got people coming into my vision left and right that are people that are struggling with their health. I don't know if they're ever going to do Arbonne, but I truly know that what we have will help them. And so I'm going to start with that. And when I do, and as we get into my next point, then I know that we can at least lead to something and find out whether or not this is going to be a fit for them. Okay. Now, I want to also encourage you with this. When you're thinking about what is it that you want, my mission is to help anybody and everybody who will listen, from getting their gut healthy to having healthy finances and everything in between. You guys, don't look to the right or to the left. I want to encourage you to that, because man, we got a lot of head trash going on in this world, right? And I got to tell you, being in this business 23 years and having lost my nation, and working my way back there, and the people that I grew up in Arbonne with are all in the top 10. I could have a whole lot of head trash, and I have. But it doesn't serve anyone. And I cannot look to the right or to the left, because what I know is God has me in a place for a reason and for a time and for a purpose. And it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. You are where you are for a reason, for a time, for a purpose. And you guys, keep moving forward and stay committed to your mission and who you are. And I promise you, you and the one that created you are going to help you get to where you need to be. Okay. Also, on that note, I just want to say real quickly, and then I'll give you my last point, and that is, be mindful of who you let have a voice in your life. You guys, I am a very, well, I have to be very careful, because I know that I'm who I am, and I am unique, and God has made me this way. But over time, I have allowed people to have voices in my life that don't keep me authentic. And so if you feel that, if you have that nudge, be mindful of it, because they can get you off track. Okay, so that's all I want to say about that. The last point that I want to share with you guys is to get good at asking questions. This is really, really, really key. They all are, but this one I have found has been very helpful with me, sharing my mission and seeing if my mission fits other people's lives as well. And so what I do, my introduction to people is sharing my mission with them. And so for me right now, I'm going to share with you a text that I sent just a week ago. And that was, you know, hey, Peg, we talked about, our boys are both at the Air Force Academy. And so we talked a little bit about that. But I said, I am looking to expand my business outside of my local area. And I wondered if you would be willing to share more about what I do with you. Okay. Now, you guys, I live in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's always wise to get outside of your local area, right? But so that's what I shared with her, because she lives in another state. And so that's how I shared that with her. I told her I am on a mission to help people get healthy physically, emotionally, and financially. I value and respect you. And one of the things that I love most about you is your authenticity, because it is true. She is one of the most authentic people that I know. And I said, I would love for you to be on this mission with me, but if it's not for you, maybe it's for someone you know. If I could have 20 minutes of your time, would you be willing to let me tell you more about it? And she, of course, said yes. So from that point on, you either can send them a video, you can do a live with them, invite them to one of your things, whatever the case may be. But once they've gotten the Arbonne information, these are the questions that I ask. And so feel free to use them if you want. Maybe you can make up your own, but this is what I have come to that really helps me get to the next step. And that is, after they've listened to the Arbonne story, what stands out to you? Okay. Another one would be, what would you like to know more about? Okay. What stands out to you? What would you like to know more about? What is the biggest concern for your family right now? What stands out to you? What would you like to know more about? What's the biggest concern for your family right now? If you could have your family life look however you wanted, what would that look like? If you could have your family life look however you wanted, what would that look like? And the last one, how can I serve you? Because you guys, depending on what their answers are with this, that's going to lead you to the next question, okay? When you just deliver information, you're showing what you know. But you guys, when you ask questions, you're going to swing the door wide open, okay? I want to swing the door wide open. I want you to be able to swing the door wide open. So if those questions don't work for you, figure out what questions you can ask to swing the door wide open. You guys, we have the best products. We absolutely, no doubt, have the best people, and we have the best business that I am absolutely aware of on this planet. You guys, when you know that and when you believe it, we want to show them that by being our authentic selves, and then you're going to want to swing that door open by asking questions. And when you do, they're going to see how it's going to fit for them, not just how it fits for you and why it's so great for you. Right? What we want to do is show them how it's a fit for them. And you do that by asking questions. So those are my three main things. And you guys, I just want to close with this. This is what I am learning. This is how I am growing right now. And what I know more than anything is that you are here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. We have all been entrusted with giftedness, with talent, with wisdom, with skills, and with knowledge that are unique to each and every one of us, right? We all do have some of the same qualities and gifts, and we all have knowledge and all of those things, but most of the time it is unique to us. It's unique to you right here within this team, right here within Arbonne. And I know that I have been more thankful to the one who gave them to me. And I want to encourage you to be more thankful to the one who's given them to you, and be bold enough to ask that those gifts, those talents, that skill, that knowledge be developed and to grow, right? Be bold enough to ask that they be developed and grow and used for a greater glory, right? That's what we're all here for. And you guys, I know that when we do that, and as we do that, that is how we're going to change this world, one person at a time, one family at a time. And I'm just grateful to be on this journey with you. I thank you guys for allowing me to spend some time with you. And I look forward to hopefully meeting and talking to all of you soon. Shelly, thank you again for inviting me to be here. I love you, and I appreciate you so much.
Well, you guys, you can see why I wanted Jackie on here, right? Because you can't, I mean, you can tell her heart. That's the biggest thing. And I took a ton of notes, and it's good just to be reminded again, to be reminded. I can remember a turning point in my life too, where I no longer was frustrated with bad results from a party. It just was like, okay, so somebody's going to be blessed just because they might not have someone be kind. Someone might find products that change their skin or their health, and someone might have a business. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not my job to make the decision. My job is just to share. And you did that so eloquently. And I know the comments, if you can read all the comments, you touched a lot of people's hearts tonight. And that's what we remember most, is where we're touched, not by the words spoken at us, but where we're touched. So thank you so much for being willing to go through your journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and to be able to share it, because it's important.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Love you.
Have a good night, Jackie.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Okay, guys, have a good night, and put a little thought into that. The book Visionarying is amazing, and know that you're here for a purpose and a plan. Take care.